Can you scratch your back? Well, this is about it. So I can kind of scratch the bottom of my neck. Can you still dunk? If not, when was the last time you did? I'd love to see you dunk at your weight. That'd be amazing. Maybe a world record. Might be a world record. The last time I did dunk, it's been probably a couple years ago, and I still could, but I'll be honest, it's nothing like I could do when I played basketball in college. I mean, it was so easy for me back then, and of course I was a lot lighter, which made it easier, but I would imagine I still could now, but I haven't tried in quite some time. Do you have anything planned for when you hit 1 million subscribers? Nothing is set in stone yet. We've been kind of brainstorming different ideas, different things that we could possibly do. But what I will say is, if any of you watching this video have ideas or things that you think would be good for a video, list them in the comments. We'll go through them, kind of check them out. And if we happen to pick your idea, then I will personally send you some type of free stuff, like a kind of care package for coming up with the idea, and we'll have some fun with that. So we'll see what ideas you guys have and kind of go through them that way and have some fun with it. Could we see you have a friendly match with one of the top sumos like Hakuto or Takanisho? Sorry if I butchered those names. But I would say yes. I've actually only done sumo wrestling one time in strongman, and they strapped this up in the diaper, and I am actually 2-0, so I'm undefeated in strongman sumo wrestling. Not saying that would translate over to one of sumo wrestling, one of the top sumo wrestlers, but I would be game for it at some point, just to kind of feel it out and have some fun. Who knows what'll happen, but I like to do challenges, as you guys all know, so maybe in the future. What is Eddie Hall's mental age? Now, this is a good question. I would say that realistically, he's probably around 10. I don't think he ever really grew up past that point, because he obviously thinks farting is hilarious and, just doesn't really care what other people think. But it's, in my opinion, a very good quality that Eddie has, and it's part of the reason that he makes so many people laugh and so many people enjoy watching him. Are you still associated with CBD Fit? Yes, definitely I'm associated with CBD Fit. We've got a lot of big things going on there. Actually, recently we just announced that we partnered with Vitamin Shop to be the first fitness-based CBD brand that'll be sold at Vitamin Shop, which is really exciting. A lot of other things in the works. Hopefully, in August, the products will be available to purchase. So working on a lot of moving parts with that right now, but really exciting news coming up. Really pumped to get all the products out and available. So we'll definitely share more news as it's available, but for sure in September, all the products will be available at Vitamin Shop. If you could only save one person between Eddie, Nick, and Robert, who would it be and why? Well, this pretty much comes down to Eddie or Robert, so we'll debate those two first. That's a tough one. Both those guys have good qualities, can make me laugh at times. I would say just strictly based on training alone, I would say that I would save Eddie because he would be the most beneficial to my training. But that's a close battle. Obviously, Nick was already out. So, yeah, that's my answer. How do you know when it's time to start loading up again after an injury, especially when your brain and body are sending different signals? This is actually a great question. And with any injury, there's going to be a physical healing component. So it depends on how bad the injury was, of course, if it required surgery. There's a lot of factors with that. So first and foremost, you have to let your body physically heal. So, that's kind of a given. Now, once you're actually healed, then the mental part of this comes in. So you have to kind of take steps to challenge yourself and to gain confidence again with the injury. So you can kind of feel it as you're going, and the hardest part is starting that process again. I know for myself, for example, when I tore my bicep back in 2012, I was doing an axle clean when I got hurt, and I remember once my bicep was fully healed, I had a contest that had axle clean in it. And doing that axle clean, even with a lightweight for the first time, was very challenging. But week by week, I just built it back up, and I started to gain more confidence with it. And then eventually it got to a point where I didn't think about it anymore. And now, that repaired bicep, I'm actually, in a lot of ways, more confident with that than I am with my non-repaired one. So it's something where if you do it correctly, you give yourself time, you build yourself up mentally, you can definitely overcome any injury, but it's a process and something that you need to feel as you go along. Whose belly is bigger, your of Eddie Hall's? So I'm guessing you meant to say yours or Eddie Hall's. I would say that I feel like I've got Eddie beat for sure. He's definitely got a thick waist for his size. This may need to come down to a tape measure, and I would be game for this with Eddie. Could be a challenge coming up in the future, who knows? But we might need to settle that with an actual tape measure. But I feel like I've got him beat. Do you like pineapple on your pizza? I'm asking the real questions here. That is definitely a real question. And I feel like there are a lot of people out there that get pretty fired up about pineapple on pizza. What I will say is I have to be in the right mood only if I'm going to get some pineapple on my pizza. Like if I'm going to have a Hawaiian pizza, it's only a very specific mood. I would say the majority of the time, I'm a meat lovers guy. That's my go-to pretty much all of the time. So hopefully that answers that. I feel like I like it only at certain times. Are you upset that World's Strongest Man has turned into World's Most Athletic / Fastest Man? I wouldn't say that it's completely turned into World's Most Athletic and Fastest Man. I mean, there was certainly still a couple events there that were strength related. But in my opinion, if you're trying to find the world's strongest man, you should have events where some of the guys really struggle and or can't do them. Some of the guys are able to do it, but it's very difficult. And then you have a couple guys that can get through it fairly easy. So it's kind of like the rule of thirds when it comes to events. So if you have 10 guys, kind of 3 guys do pretty well, 3 guys can do it okay, and 3 guys really struggle. And if you have that mix with events, that, in my opinion, is the best way to find out who the strongest is. So, I think that, with strongman, the tough part is choosing the events and then testing the events to make sure that they're challenging enough, that they're hard enough, and in my opinion, you always should go heavier to find out who the strongest is. So, it's always a tough question to answer, and I've got this question a lot, especially after World's Strongest Man this year. I don't know if that was the best mix of events, in my opinion, but at the end of the day, as a competitor, you just have to handle the events that are in front of you and compete and do the best that you can with those events. But I would like to see it, get back to a better mix of being heavier and more challenging. So if you're going to do a loading race or moving events that require some running, they should be heavy enough where everybody can't finish. That's my personal opinion when it comes to that, and we'll see what happens in the future, but maybe we can get back to that.